Welcome everyone. We are down in the garden this morning because we are going to be measuring some raised beds. These are actually ones that we just made out of pallet shelves. And pardon me if I'm squinting, the sun is really bright this morning and it's a little chilly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the length of these, because what we're going to be doing today is ensuring that we have great spacing so we can grow nice, healthy carrots. Okay, so I'm just taking my measuring tape, coming down in here, getting my measurements, and that will let me know how long I need to make. All right, I'm just going to do 4 beds this year. I still have quite a few carrots canned, but I can get several in these beds, and so I wrote my measurements down. I have one bed that needs 45 inches, and I can actually fit 3 strips in that one, and 3 that are only 44 inches, and I can fit 2 strips in those. All right, to get started making our seed tape, we're just going to take some flour. That was just a tablespoon. And then some water, and I'm going to slowly add the water. And I just want to make a paste. I don't want it to be too thick, and I don't want it to be too runny. So I'm going to just mix it up slowly here until I get the consistency that I want. And the reason why I don't want it too thick is because we're going to be applying this with a toothpick. And if it's too thick, it is really difficult for it to come off. So let me get this mixed up here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I got it mixed up here to where I think I will like it. I don't know if you can kind of tell. It's kind of hard to tell the way I have the camera. But it is a little on the runnier side, but not so much that it won't stay on a toothpick. So what we're going to be using today for making our carrot tape is just basic toilet paper. This is just unscented white toilet paper. And I'm going to roll it out according to the number of inches that I need for each bed. And the reason I like to use toilet paper versus maybe say like a paper towel is that the toilet paper is designed to break down rather quickly. And so once you get them put out into the garden, I find that it just disintegrates and then allows the seed and then the germination of the carrot with the roots down into the soil much quicker and healthier. So let's get this measured out, and then I will show you how I make this into the strips. Okay, now that I have my strips all cut out, this one I have folded in half lengthwise, and I'm going to continue to fold it in half again and again until I get it down to a manageable size. And then what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut into 3 strips. That way, when I unroll it, I have one long strip that I need to fit the length of that bed. So now we'll get to the part of putting the seeds on the carrot tape. Okay, so now I am laying my little strip that I cut onto the countertop. And today I'm going to be planting 2 different types of carrot. One is a long imperator, and we really love these because they're great for snacking and they really do grow nice, long, beautiful carrots. So on the seed tapes that I'm going to be doing that particular variety, I'm just going to come down and I'm going to mark an E on there so that I know that that's the variety. And then we're also going to plant these new Corota carrots on a few of the tapes, and we will just mark that one with a K, so when it comes time to put them out in the garden, we will know which is which. And I'm just going to take this mixture that I made, the flour and the water, and I'm going to kind of just scoop my toothpick in there, bring it over, and about every inch, I'm going to just put a little blob of this mixture. Spacing them about an inch, as I said. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you give them about that much room, it really allows them to not have any competition when you're growing them out in your container or your raised bed to make big, beautiful carrots. Then what I'll do is I will take my seeds. We're going to do the imperator carrots first. I'm going left-handed here, so we'll see if I can do this. And then I'm just going to take one seed at a time, and I'm going to put it right on top, or as close as I can get. You can adjust it with the toothpick to get it right on top. But I'm just going to go along the whole seed tape and repeat this process. And once you get it done, just leave them out on the countertop, stretched out until they are fully dried if you're not going to be planting them right away. I tend to find that even if you do want to plant them right away, let them sit for a few minutes just so that the flour mixture has a chance to kind of glue that seed into place before you go to move them too much. But I'll probably just put you on a little time lapse and we'll get the rest of these put together. And then we will be taking them down to the garden and I will show you how I plant them and what I do to ensure good germination rate down in the garden. As you can see, I now have one done. And as we go down the row, you can see there's just one seed on top of each one of the dots. And if for some reason, say you were to accidentally get two onto one of these, you really can just take your toothpick and move it, take it off, put a different one on. Like this one, it almost looks like there's no seed, but it just fell off to the side. So I'll just move him up there like that. All right, I've got the seed tapes done now, and I'm just going to let them hang out here on the countertop for a little while so that the little blobs of flour that we put the seeds into can dry enough. Even if I pick them up right now and move them, the seed is pretty well adhered and they don't fall off, but I just want them to be dry enough so that I can move them down into the garden. In the meantime, I am going to go down and get them ready so that when I take the seed tape down, they're ready to put in. So let's go do that. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in this bed is I already, about a month ago, put some organic time-released fertilizer in here. And so now what I'm going to do is just come through and I'm going to just kind of soften the top of it up a little bit. And then for the carrots, I'm just going to take my shovel because they don't like to be buried super deep, but they do need to have coverage over them. As I'm going to just take and wiggle little rows into here, so when our seed tape is ready to come out and plant, I have a perfect little trough for them to be put into. So I'm going to do this to all the beds. And this last one is my bigger one, and it has room for 3 rows. So I'm going to get 3 rows put in to this one. All right, now we will go check if our seed tape is ready and bring them down here and get them planted. Okay, I went up and got the seed tape. They're not 100% dry, but they're dry enough where the little seeds are still sticking on them. You can kind of see there's no issue there. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is just lay them down into the little troughs. And the reason why I like to do seed tape is because even if you have one of those little devices that is made for sowing small seeds, you really can't see a dark brown seed or even a light brown seed on the surface of the soil very well. And this way I can see exactly where my seeds are and that I have the spacing the way that I want them to be. And after doing seed starting for, well, over 30 years, I still hate thinning out. It's like this little seed has worked so hard to germinate and grow, and the last thing I want to do is pluck it out of the ground and say, sorry, you don't get to grow. But, I mean, you don't get a good harvest, and, you know, your plants aren't going to grow the way they need to if you don't keep them thinned out. So that's why I do this method. So I'm just going to lightly cover these up Now where I live is in the Pacific Northwest of Oregon. We're in zone 8B, and we tend to get quite a bit of rain, and we do have quite a bit of rain coming up in the forecast, which will help to get this all, tamped down against the seeds. And we don't have a whole lot of sun in the forecast, so I don't have to worry about these drying out. And one of the things that I do, though, if we're going to have any kind of weather before they've germinated and really gotten going, is I cover them either with cardboard or some cedar fence boards where the sun can't dry them out and the seeds still stay damp down there in the soil until they're ready to germinate. And look at that, I just pulled that out. That's why I like to use it, because it disintegrates so quickly. Okay. And my raised beds here, I have been growing carrots in these for several years, and I have it to where the medium in here is really good. It's light, it's fluffy. Now there are some sticks and twigs in here, I won't deny that. And if your carrot starts to grow and hits one of these, it'll fork. So if you've ever seen those carrots, it looks like a pair of human legs. It just means that it has run into something while that root is trying to grow, and then it splits. So I'm going to get the rest of these beds done, and then I am going to label them, and then we'll have some nice pretty carrots coming. I'm just tamping down so that the soil is making good contact with those seeds on top. Okay, last one. And it does go pretty quick when you have them already all spaced out. Most of the time when I make these, it isn't the day that I'm planting. It just so happened that this year I didn't have a whole lot of time in the winter to sit down and do it. Normally I like to do little projects like this ahead of time, where if it's a cold and yucky day outside, if it's pouring down rain or there's snow or it's just really cold, it's something fun you can do garden related in the house in preparation for your garden. And then once they're all dried and the little dollops of flour that you put down for the seeds are dried, you can actually just roll them or fold them up, put them into a Ziploc bag, and then they're ready to go when you're ready to plant. So that's how we do that. So here are the tags that I like to use, whether I'm labeling my plants or vegetables, and also I use these in the garden if I want to remember what I've put there. I source these either from Amazon or the Greenhouse Megastore. I do have a link to the Greenhouse Megastore I will put down below in the descriptions, but I like these because they're sturdy, and as long as you don't leave them out in the garden, they last for several years, and you can write on them with pencil. So let's get our carrots labeled.